to a brand new episode of Straight Up Show Podcast. I am your host, Straight Up Podcast Music Monday, and this is our first one in season 5. And I had to bring this person on today because he's one of my good friends, great personality, a lot of energy. So today's Music Monday, we're kind of going international, but we're staying in America. It's a type of, here on Music Mondays, we like to reach out and find things that are different. And today's artist is no different because he is definitely unique, definitely different than most artists that you would ever meet. So without further ado, help me welcome Big Mo. Big Mo, thank you, sir, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. How's everyone doing? I'm hoping everyone enjoying the show. This is Big Mo BITW. Es la temporada de los gorditos, best in the world, baby.
Yeah, you hear Big Mo. Big Mo is a big personality. And like I said, he is a different type of artist because he just gave us a little sample of what Big Mo can do. And, he has that nice, angelic voice that you hear on the track. You're like, wait a minute. Big Mo's doing like that, and for us that know Big Mo, we know that he can throw it down. But man, I didn't know with Big Mo that you was doing bangers like that, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm doing my best. It's something I've been, getting into for a long time, and this is half natural, half a lot of studying.
Yeah, and so make sure I got this right. So it's Big Mo BITW. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did I pronounce it? Is it?
Yes, exactly. Okay. You said exactly like that.
Okay.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Break that down. What does Big Mo BITW stand for? Like, what does that mean?
Well, it really just initially started as just Big Mo, but there were too many like different variations of Big Mo, so I had to make it official and still make it stand out and Googleable.
Mm-hmm.
I had to add something, so BITW was something I ended up incorporating officially, but you would always incorporate BITW in my name on social medias.
Okay.
And BITW stands for Best in the World.
Best in the world, baby. Yes. Yes, man. Big Mo, man. So me and Big Mo, we met on Clubhouse. And I think it's almost a year ago, right? Man.
Yeah, just about almost a year ago.
Wow, it'd be like a year in December. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we met on Clubhouse, and it was our love for music that kind of brought us together. And we have mutual friends too, but just to kind of I think we met through the mutual friends first,
yep.
And then the music came later. But man, I think we spent maybe until the next morning talking in Clubhouse because we wouldn't go to sleep because we just kept going, and Mo would just have us cracking up and laughing. But there's also a serious side to Mo to where he's all about business and music. And so I was like, man, I gotta have Big Mo on him because, if you can't tell right now, Big Mo has a personality that people just flocks to him. And it's not just with his personality, but with his music as well. So for the people who don't know you like I know you, Big Mo, tell people who you are and where you come from.
My name is Big Mo. Anyone else can call me Big Mo. My official name is Big Mo BITW, of course. But like I said, to keep it comfortable, just Big Mo. I'm from Miami, Florida. Specifically, I was born and raised in North Miami, and I've lived in various areas of South Florida. I actually originally came from R&B, but right now I consider myself a Latin artist and an international artist. But like I said, my heart is still always in R&B and Latin. So, my family's from Haiti. Both parents are just Haitian, and I'm a singer, recording artist, and music engineer, and a songwriter.
Yeah, and then like I said, you got that sweet angelic voice, just that kind of captivates you and brings you in. And the thing about Big Mo, and you can tell me about this, Mo, is that you're all about culture. Even looking at your shirt right now, it's all about culture. And so yep. I think that's one big part about you is that you represent a lot of culture. And I love how you, even on social media, there's a big love for you being Haitian and you being a proud Haitian descendant. So how important it is to represent culture, especially with you being Haitian.
The fact that I always represent being Haitian, it's something that I consider bigger than me, and it's not, and I understand the history behind it, and you know, a little education for the audience. I'll make it brief. Haiti has always had a big history on cultural exchanges and collaborating with other countries across Caribbean, Latin America, and they always did it for for the greater good and something that was bigger than themselves. So I had always aimed to emulate that as I was learning, especially about Haitian culture and Haitian history. So it was something I wanted to emulate, and I felt like it's something that really resonated with me. And on top of the fact that South Florida, it's already an extremely diverse area where everyone's from everywhere, everyone's families are from somewhere else. Um, so many cultures, so many ethnicities, and we were all like, it felt like we were forced to all get along with each other. So I there there's a there's not a country that I haven't heard about or haven't had a friend that was, and I gotta admit, some of the ladies that I'm not very discriminate when it comes to a woman's ethnicity. So
right.
But it was always due to the fact that I always grew up on diversity, especially like since my younger days and teenage years.
Okay, and I love that, man. That's one thing that kind of makes you stand out. And like I said, if you go to his social media page or you follow him on social media, you see his conversation, his music is so diverse. And we're going to talk more about his music and what kind of music he does do right now on the other side of the break. Stay tuned. This is the Straight Up Show podcast, Music Monday with Big Mo BITW. Best in the world, baby. Stay tuned.
Hola, mi amor, mi vida, mi cariña. Te extraño también, baby. Oye, porque eres demasiado hermosa como siempre. Pero mi amor, escúchame. Yo quiero tu cuerpo, puede ser abierto. Ponme lleno loco para ti, puedo ser tu baby. Necesitas algo conmigo. Necesitas algo conmigo. Vamos a mi cama, para la semana podemos quedar. Necesitas algo conmigo. Ya tú sabes que me gusta.
Straight up means to be able to speak in a way that is straight up, to be honest, and to speak your truth.
Raw, uncut, you know what I mean? It's blunt, straight to the point. This what it is.
It's just a place to be open and honest, and that's what I appreciate most about it. And it provides a place for community members to come together and just be straight up with each other about things that are going on in the world, because it affects all of us.
Unfiltered, raw, with all the cursing that Calvin does.
Straight up is just being real, telling it like it is, being you.
Being solid, being who you are, no matter what it is, no matter what situation you're faced with. Right, this is who you are. It really speaks to me, saying it is what it is and it ain't what it ain't. Straight up.
All right, welcome back to the Straight Up Show podcast, Music Monday. My guest today is Big Mo BITW, best in the world, baby. So I hope you got your baby oil ready, because this, yeah, you like that, Big Mo. But get the baby oil ready, and we have Big Mo with us today. So once again, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So Big Mo, you have this nice angelic voice, and I just want to know how did you get into music? Like, what was your passion? Where did it come from? Like, how did Big Mo get into music?
This was actually something that half of it, I say I was definitely born with it, especially from my mom's side of the family, because my mom grew up with about like 14 siblings, and half of them were musicians. And including my mom, she's a phenomenal, probably one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life, and that's saying it objectively. and also, and same thing with my sister as well. My sister's really like especially my mother. She's very like known within the Haitian community, especially one of her brothers who is one of the biggest names in Haitian music. Um, anyone can look it up. Wodrick Million. Who's in the Haitian Music Hall of Fame. So and rest in peace to him. He recently passed away. But still, regardless, my mom, I've grew up on music, hearing music all my life, watching my mom perform in different churches at like almost every Sunday. She actually didn't expect me to end up becoming a singer myself, but there was hints of it when I was a kid, because every time I picked up an instrument, it always ended up like, I always ended up picking it up quick, like that. Like, and since I was a little kid, but, it was hard to understand, and singing kind of ended up coming when I was about like 13 years old, and I was randomly mowing the lawn and I was singing along with the song, and I was like, I think I sound pretty good. Hold on. So, it started off from that, but I always, like, music was always something that I knew was born in me, was bred in me. I was always surrounded by it. I was always surrounded by instruments and music equipments, even since I was a baby. And, my mom's been singing since long before I was even a twinkle in her eye. And she still sings and performs to this very day. So,
but
yeah,
she definitely passed it on to you, man, because like I said, you have a great voice and very, I say, angelic, because it's very soft and it's very unique. And so I know that you said, like, even behind you, you have music instruments and stuff like that. Are you self-taught, or did you take classes, or how did you get into instruments?
It was partly, it kind of like started off self-taught, but when I went to middle school, trumpet was actually, it was actually my technically second instrument I picked up, but it was the one that I really shined in. My first was actually saxophone, which I'm still pretty good in, but I never was officially taught. I just ended up just knowing how to play it. But trumpet ended up becoming my favorite instrument. It became my baby. And even I always say, since middle school, I was one of the top trumpet players in the state of Florida.
Wow.
So and I've picked up engineering also when I was about like 13 from two different colleagues of my mom, who were engineers who engineered my mother's songs. And they ended up kind of teaching me like different engineering programs. They kind of gave me the program and let me know how to play with it, but I ended up just taking it and falling in love with it. And I've literally learned how to record a song since I was about like maybe 14, 15 years old.
So, and like I said, Big Mo, thank you for all of that.
And I apologize. The engineering, it was definitely self-taught as well.
Self-taught.
Yes.
With that being said, which came first? Was it the engineering part, or you stepping in the front, being an artist first? Which came first in your progression to becoming a musician?
I'd say technically, singing kind of came first, but engineering didn't fall long after. It probably happened within the same year, but maybe a later month, when I knew I could sing and I knew I was being a singer. But then I met a good friend of mine in middle school, and we learned about like recording softwares. I'm gonna nerd out a little bit, but earlier Sony Acid days and Cakewalk Sonar.
Yep.
Wow. That's what I ended up growing up off of. And FL Studio.
Yeah, FL Studio. Yeah.
At the time it was called Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops.
So that is literally what I grew up off of. And I'm saying I came from Fruity Loops 3.
Wow.
That was the earliest. I know right now it's in its 20s, but Um, so yeah, I have a basic Fruit Loops gave me a basic understanding of producing. And all that was also self-taught. And I would like just sit, I would just have many days where I would just glued to my computer all day and all night, just playing around with these programs. Or either I was playing with the programs and learning it at home, or or I would ride my bike to my friend's house because he was learning it, and we would kind of like exchange informations of what we would learn.
And then and you're a Floridian, and so we know how vital music is down there. And because you are in Florida, you are a Haitian, and you are one of these people who embraces culture, that has played a factor into your music. So you do R&B, right?
Yes.
But now explain to us, how'd you learn Spanish, and how did you incorporate this into it becoming part of your now music?
I know I'll start off with I was always originally flocked to R&B. R&B was the main genre I studied the most. R&B was my biggest inspiration. R&B is still like even to this day, it's still the love of my life. I still love R&B. And down here in South Florida, especially South Florida, extremely diverse. So I already had an understanding of many different cultures and many different ethnicities. And there's many different ethnic communities down here. So so I got to hear many different, cultural genres like Haitian compa. Well, of course, that was like one of the first culture genre I, grew up off of. And reggae, dancehall, reggaeton, salsa, bachata, um, those and Florida, like, and in Florida we have a very specific sound like that's known to Florida, where our sound is really more like fast and dancing, and also at the same time also love R&B, where we kind of we where we do dance R&B where you're literally like damn near smashing the floor,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The
right.
legs up
Yeah.
in the air and grinding on, that, and I'll explain the R&B later. But how I got into Spanish, it wasn't that difficult of a transition because I would grow up, or as I was growing up, even whether between dating different girls or having friends, and even people that, when I'm going to work, people I've worked with, I knew a lot of people who spoke Spanish and only spoke Spanish. I started taking Spanish serious, like learning Spanish serious, about around 2015. And that is also self-taught as well. I had taught myself Spanish. I didn't have it yet, so it was well after high school. Um, and which is something that I've picked up, and I didn't think about that I was gonna make Latin music in the future. I didn't think about that.
Right.
I really used it just to adapt, because places I've worked in and people I've met, I said, something just told me in the back of my mind, yo, Mo, start learning Spanish and take it serious and start learning it right now. And then I found different programs, and I would just teach myself at home, or at work or on my way to work, so anytime I had extra time, I would just like get these programs and learn it. And to this day I'm still learning, but now I've became like pretty fluent in it. And
Oh yeah, you've held your own. Definitely some of the rooms we've been in, you definitely have held your own. And my Spanish is like probably like not as good as yours, nowhere close to it. But when we go into these rooms and we talk and have conversations, I feel like I'm the only one left out. I'm like, wait a minute, you're like, what are y'all saying right now? Help me out. But so how vital has it been, or how beneficial has it been learning Spanish, not only with your music, but just overall life? How beneficial has that been?
I considered it one of the smartest things I've ever did. Even at the time, I didn't think that I was thinking far ahead, but at the same time, I was thinking far ahead. because I didn't expect myself to make Spanish music. Like I said, it was mainly to adapt. And living in South Florida, you kind of have to, because you're going to meet and work with and even date so much people who they don't even know the English language. So I even saying, even in the dating world, I kind of say like the ability to learn English language doesn't even matter to me anymore. So, it's kind of like that kind of adapting that I've done. And like I said, people that I've worked with, co-workers who I've been really close with to this day, don't even know a lick of English. So, that's kind of like what South Florida is about, where you're going to work with someone who doesn't even know a lick of English. And there's times where you might work with them very often and very close. And you might end up building like a good work relationship with them. So, and so I had different people kind of like help me out as I was learning. And a lot of people knew that I was learning. So there was that. And then the transition to making Latin music kind of started in 2019, where I had made this dance video, and it ended up getting promoted like around especially Latin America. And I was getting floods of new followers, and I was getting new followers by the thousands.
Right.
And just people like just upping me, like, and hyping me up. And they're from like many different countries, many, especially Latin America. So you're thinking, Colombia, Venezuela, Argentina, Panama, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and they're coming from everywhere. And people, whether they're in my comments or in my DMs, where people were just like, yo, like just bunch of hype ups and words of encouragements, or someone was to say something negative, they'll come at that person like they don't even, and they never met me. And then I came out with the song, with the R&B song, and I was getting a bunch of DMs where it was, my R&B song "Walk Away," and it was a bunch of people were in my DM saying, oh, I love the song, but I can't understand it's in English. Or, oh, you sound good, you have a good voice, but I don't understand English. Or, oh, I love your song, but I don't understand English. Couldn't understand it. And I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, and then that's when it built the light bulb in my head. I said, I need to capitalize off of this. And then that was one of my first aha moments. And that's when I said, I have to make a song in Spanish. And my first one came in 2020, Necesitas Algo. It was the first Spanish song I've ever wrote in my life. It was one of the hardest processes I've ever done, because that's when I realized things that rhyme in English, if I translate it to Spanish, those words are not going to rhyme. So, so it was a difficult transition, but it was one of the most fun transitions I've made. And then when I saw the reception I've gotten from these other countries, I was like, this is I got to make this my lane.
And it's definitely been a lane that from the outside looking in, so many independent and up and coming Latin artists look for you for guidance now. And I think that's so incredible to see, because I hopped on a studio session of yours on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, IG Live, and I just see all these comments in Spanish and from these different Spanish artists, and I'm like, man, he has something going right now. And I think that when it comes to music, Big Mo, I think that what makes people not rise to the top is that they're not being creative, and their niche doesn't stick out. Yours sticks out because you are dark complected, but at first glance, especially in America, you wouldn't think that you speak Spanish. But that's kind of the ignorance in America for assuming. Which
they're not wrong, because I'm Haitian. We speak Creole.
Right. And so at first glance, you wouldn't think that this person who is, they look at your skin first and say, oh, he's Haitian with the Haitian flag because you represent every day.
Yep.
But at the same time, they wouldn't think that you were doing Latin music. And I think that's what makes you stick out the most, and that's going to be your claim to fame. I get. Well, you're already kind of famous, but but getting there. But just to see, it was so amazing to see people just flock to you because of your music and your style. And I think that's going to really open a lot of people's eyes. But you know what? Let me take from Big Mo and say, hey, maybe I got to be more creative with my music and thought process when I'm creating music. And I think you've done a great job with this. And so with that being said, we're going to have more with Big Mo on the other side of the break. Stay tuned. Get your baby oil ready because we got Big Mo on the Straight Up Show podcast, Music Monday.
Yeah. Best in the world, baby. Best in the world, baby. Okay. I got too many girls, I just can't choose one. I like her too. She my girl, she my boo, she my type, she so cute. I want her and I want her too. I like her too. She my girl, she my boo, she my type, she so cute. I want her and I want her too. So many girls ready for me, ain't no way I'm choosing one. I need them all, maybe some more, cause that's how a vulture gets it done. Yeah, I'm
tired of the same old boring clothes? Want to support your favorite podcast but don't know how? Well, you're in luck. The Straight Up Show podcast store is finally here. In our Teespring shop, you can find all the merch that tells the world you're keeping it straight up. From t-shirts to masks to even leggings, our store has you covered. Just visit straightupshowpodcast.com and click that merchandise button. That's STR8 upshowpodcast.com.
All right, welcome back to Straight Up Show Podcast, Music Monday. I am joined by creative and wonderful, talented guest today, Big Mo BITW, best in the world. He is quickly showing you right now why he is the best in the world outside of CM Punk. If you know, you know.
That was actually where the inspiration came from.
Yep. Hence the belt in the background.
Yep.
So, well, wrong kind of belt now, but still, you know, like I said, if you know, you know. But he is the best in the world at what he's doing right now, and I don't think he can be duplicated because this gentleman has been able to not only study his craft but go and advance and learn Spanish to not only do R&B music but to tie it in with Latin and Spanish language as well. So, Big Mo, once again, thank you for coming on the show today.
And once again, thank you for having me, man.
No, sir, thank you. So getting right back into the music part of it, right? So, you know, I used to DJ. I'm not an artist. I have one song out that I've done, which is kind of, you know, and but when it comes to making music, I mean, you're a producer / art, you know, which is this? Artist / producer, engineer. Okay, so you're engineer / artist, or is it engineer? Or is it artist / engineer? Which goes first in your title?
I would probably say artist / engineer.
Okay, artist / engineer.
Yeah.
So take us to your creative process. I mean, do you do are you writing first or are you doing music first?
I'm always thinking about writing first. There's times where I'll find producers to work with, and I think of the vibe, and I think of the direction. Even if it fits my direction at the time. And then there's times if I can feel like I can freestyle to that instrumental, then I'm gonna then I'll hit up that producer. I'm like, okay, how can I work with you? But you know, I do the writing and I do the engineering, I do the mixing and mastering, you know, all on my own. I record by myself, you know, and I mix myself. So.
And your ad libs are the best too, by the way. Just letting you know. I love your ad libs. I'm sorry, I know it's really random. I love your best in the world, baby. I'm sorry, man. I love the ad libs, man. I love it.
It all comes from really studying R&B. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a top 5 favorite R&B artists that those are the best people to study from. Those are Marcus Houston, Usher, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, and Pleasure P.
Wow, that's some hardcore R&B right there.
Yeah, and those are like the best people to study. Like if I always tell anyone who, if they're really trying to pursue R&B, those are the best people to study because they teach how to maximize your R&B vocals. They teach you how to do, how to really utilize doing backgrounds because R&B is more than just singing. It's understanding making a song and, making backgrounds and, making it sound like a true R&B song. And of course, even I got to give it to Chris Brown. He taught me how to be versatile and, multiple genres while still maximizing myself.
Right. And I'm glad you said that.
Which explained, when I transitioned to reggaeton.
I'm glad you said it because, a lot of people give Chris Brown, a lot of flack, but he's been able to like not only do R&B, but to dominate the pop charts, the pop charts. And this might sound so funny, but when he did that Double Mint commercial with the bubble gum,
my God.
I was like, this is about bubblegum, but like I'm really tuned in to listen to this bubblegum about you doing and this I take it one step further. The Elmo song, like with him and Elmo.
My God.
Yes, but like it was soulful. I'm like, but of course Chris Brown, learned from the people older than him, the older R&B, the Marvin Gaye's and stuff like that. And if I was, because I tamper in engineering, I don't really do a lot of it. Like all the beats you hear on our show, I do myself. But I like to go back to like, Isaac Hayes and just that soft, my voice is deeper, and so I do the Isaac Hayes, just the violins and, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I am with R&B and music. But with Chris Brown, Usher, Marcus Houston, they put you in your feels, and
it's not just that. Well, the main thing is, sorry to interrupt, but the main thing is, they have the best combination of old school and new. And that is the main thing why I have them in, like, when I say to study, if you're studying today, because even R&B today is different than what it was in 90s and 2000s. And those were different than what it was in the 70s and 80s. But 90s and 2000s R&B was probably the best bridge between the old and the new. In my opinion, it's always done the best. And, when you study those, there's not an era that you wouldn't be able to shine in.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't worry about interrupting me, man. This is Music Monday with Big Mo BITW. This is your time. This is officially Big Mo week here on Straight Up Show podcast. So,
man, it's your show, man.
Man, this is your time to let people know who you are. So, and I hate to be one of these people to kind of talk about like the negative part of music. It's there.
Of course,
it's there. And even though you've had this transition of success and people are coming up to you, as many can say that it hasn't been easy. What are some challenges that you have faced or what you are facing when it comes to doing your music or something you have done with your music?
Some of the biggest challenges definitely I've ever faced was hearing no all the time, or or begging different like people who are in the game or higher up in the game, begging them for an opportunity and begging them for like a look, and doing everything I can to get them to notice me or even a little bit of their acknowledgement, and not getting any of it at all. There's times where I just have to just forced to just swallow it up, chalk it to the game, and it was years of development. And another where I felt like I didn't have any support, so when I'm working, every little money that I'm scraping up goes to my equipment, and from the outside looking in, it looks like a waste of time, because there was times where, and I'm saying years, where I had nothing to show for it. I had a vision, I said and I would be like, I know I'm not crazy, like I know I'm a good artist, I know I'm a good engineer, I know I can make a good sound, I just don't have everything. But if I was to pitch like, hey, I'm really striving to be a music artist and engineer, people can ask me, what do you have to show for it? And I have nothing to say. There was times many years I had nothing to show for it. That was the one thing. And there's times maybe circumstances where things just wasn't going my way. I couldn't get to people, or there was times where I couldn't really touch music because there was times I was around moving. So, like I was around moving a lot every year. So there was times I was barely able to work on it, but I was still always investing in it. I would still scrape on the low. Like I was still scraping money, and any money I was able to save came to a new equipment, came to a new sound. Where I'm sitting here now, it's a really nice looking studio, and I'm looking at all my equipments, and I can tell you what year I got it and what era I had it because I remember certain circumstances I was going through, and I can and it, so but so but the main thing was like I had nothing to show for it. So now leading to today, where now I'm in a point where there's finally a light in the end of the tunnel, and a lot of people, and it makes a lot of people think, oh, like it just kind of happened overnight. I'm like, oh hell no, this is like minimum 10 years in the making, minimum. But it was probably really like 15 years in the making, of just straight struggle, and to finally get a notice, and to finally get the sounds I want, to finally get the sounds that I need, to have the skills that I need. And another big obstacle was I was financially turned down from two of my dream music schools. And I told myself, I don't care. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna learn anyway. It's gonna take longer, but screw it. I'm gonna keep learning, and I'm gonna keep building my craft in it. So, so now the days of today, I'm glad I'm able to tell myself that I was right to not give up, and now I have something to show for it.
Yeah, and that's really an inspiration, man. That you really can be honest about that and how you just never gave up, man. Because I'm one of those people too. It's like you can't tell me no. I look at no as like no, next opportunity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Ooh.
yeah, and you keep doing that. You keep going. And so one thing about you is that because I worked in media, my whole life, and like I remember one of the things that they told me is that you can never be on TV because you're fat, and I'm like, whoa, wow. That hurts. They just hit me in the gut like that. You know what I mean? They stuck me like that. And so, but here I am. I've interviewed Dak Prescott, Tre'Davious White. That hasn't stopped me. So I think that you and I have I guess I don't know if it's old or new or recent mutual friend, but we have a mutual friend who is also a plus size person and is an influencer. As she didn't let that stop her, but she talked about this thing called fat phobia, to where people look at you and they just judge you because of the way you look and don't think that you deserve to be where you are because of you being, overweight or bigger than most people. Do you think that has played a factor in what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to get at all, or what?
The first thing I'm gonna say, when it comes to fat phobia, as a man, we don't have the luxury to really point it out because men, we're always going to get the worst end of the stick, and we're gonna have to always have the burden. We have to have all this responsibility. So, we get the worst end of it, and whether it's in the career world and especially in the dating world. And it's up, and I always say, you know what? As a man, you got to take it and power through it. Or what I did, I I saw, even though it's, a lot of people see it as a flaw, what I did was flip it and turned it into an advantage. Um, as even though I'm also an artist, I am also a dancer. And anyone who knows me, people who know me personally will tell you, Big Mo is very, very light on his feet, and he can literally keep up with any slim person around him. I even to even get more personal, I've actually won a couple dance contests and different dance battles. Not like huge, but still like different dance battles and battling people who were much better than me. But the crowd saw that, yo, this big dude is keeping up with everybody else. And so I kind of won over the crowd with that. So what I always say to any big dude around, keep building yourself up, finding new skills, and taking that flaw and flipping it into an advantage. Because there's no time to cry over how people see you and how people view you. You still have to continue to work on yourself and strive for greatness. If you're not able to, to change how you look, at least build some skills. Or if you and find a career or find a goal, find achievements and chase that goal. And understand yourself, know yourself. So I was able to see that I was able to flip into an advantage. So, and even as a singer, so people were like, oh, and so he's like, oh, he danced, he's light on his feet, and he sings, and he speaks multiple languages. What? Then now I'm like sexier than how people actually would have initially view me. And I've had some girls that be like, yo.
Oh, I know.
They told me like they would have never ever thought they would have seen themselves, and they were like, it's just something about you. And I know because I purposely made sure that I built multiple skills. So for all the big dudes out there, and I'm proud to represent for the big dudes. There's times you got to earn your stripes. You're gonna have that burden. You got to earn those stripes. You got to build skills. Chase your goals, chase your career, because, saying like, we're not able to we don't have the luxury to cry over how other people are going to view us, because they're going to hate you anyway. Let's say you lose weight tomorrow. They're going to be like, oh, you think you better than us because you lost weight. Like you're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
they're gonna hate you regardless. When people hate themselves, they're gonna hate you regardless.
Yeah. And
so yeah.
What did Enzo Amore say? Enzo say, hate ain't nothing but jealous disguised by love. That's what it is. Remember that? He said, hate ain't nothing but jealous disguised by love. And I love that right. You said that. And that's why I had to have Big Mo on the show, because, he is a bigger guy, but man, I've seen Big Mo in Clubhouse talking to these girls, and these girls just like, Big Mo, and then you say, all right, I got the baby oil, just like, and to see you just as comfortable in your skin, man, that speaks volumes, man, because there's some days that, I know I hadn't told you this before, but there's some days where like, man, I'm scared to put myself on camera sometimes, because I see Big Mo over here taking the shirt off like this. So I'm like Big Mo is just, and like, but the thing is that,
you gotta love yourself, because how can you expect other people to love you? You don't even love yourself.
Right. And I said, man, I know you don't know this, but man, like you've really been an inspiration to me for you just being yourself, man. Not only because you study other cultures and you embrace other cultures, but the point is that you stayed to yourself. And I love that about you, man, because you feel the culture, but you love yourself first. And then you spread the love to other people as artists or whatever. So with that being said, personally, I want to thank you, brother, for that inspiration that you have given to me as a friend.
I appreciate that so much, man.
No problem.
I'm glad to represent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so with that being said, Big Mo, I know we've been kind of in lockdown. Things are opening back up. But before we go, I'm going to ask a couple more questions and let you go. What does Big Mo have coming up next on his music? Like, what do you have now? Like, what's going on with you?
And a lot of my music, I've kind of had this another light bulb moment, another aha moment, where I kind of made a thing I made a different country themes, which, like I said, my latest one, my most recent song, Zulia, was a Venezuelan theme song. And basically, so the next project I'm actually working on it's a salsa joint. It's gonna be, because I've always wanted to have my hand in salsa. By the way, I dance salsa as well. Yeah, I've learned to dance salsa and I'm pretty good at it. So with that said, it's a salsa joint and the theme is gonna be Colombia.
Okay.
So that's what I'm having coming up next.
Okay, and it might not be something right now, but man, like you let me listen to Zulia when you first had it out. I was like, I had it on repeat, bro. Like I had it on repeat. I was like, what did Big Mo just do? I was like, okay, Big Mo. And like we was in the clubhouse, just like, wow, this is on repeat because it's that good. And we're gonna actually have Big Mo perform that here in a second. But man, Big Mo. So if people want to, are you helping other artists out right now? Or like, are you want them to reach out to you? Like, if they want to collab with you or you work with the engineering, how can people find you on social media, or how can they collab with you on music?
I'm always open for collabs. And because I built my studio and for my engineering, so I can easily work remotely. So doesn't matter where you are. All I'm gonna ask, I'm like, okay, what are the stems? Or I can send you the stems. And so I can easily collab with anyone without even leaving my home. So they can reach me at Big Mo _BITW. Even just Googling my name, it's, I made myself very easily accessible. But Instagram is one of the best places to reach me. Instagram or Twitter. That's BIGMO _BITW. Anyone who reaches me from there, will be able to easily contact me. Like I said, I can, it doesn't even have to be a song that I'm featured in. If someone recorded a song and needs someone to mix and master, I have that. I can do that for you as well. And also, even as a songwriter and recording artist, so either a chorus or a verse or both, I can have I can have that covered, and I can work remotely. I have all of my I handle all of my information independently. So I'll already have my ASCAP and BMI, or well, I'm under ASCAP. I'll have my ASCAP ready. So yeah, that's my main thing. What was the other? Did I cover it? Everything?
They covered everything. How they find you on social media, or where they can find. I think you did. Yeah, and the thing about Big Mo is that you had a studio session on Facebook Live, and I'm sitting there watching you, and like Big Mo, when he starts working, you look so serious, but then like when you get through it apart, you start smiling again. I'm like, wait a minute, you just went from like real serious to like working on your music, then like Big Mo, like just, and it was and it's crazy to see how you take music so seriously. And then like you want to, I think you're a perfectionist, honestly. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But like just to see you like just over there mixing and mastering, and then like, I was like, wow, man, this guy is really just into his music. So I love to see that passion from you, Big Mo. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great show with my friend Big Mo, best in the world, BITW. Man, Big Mo, once again, thank you so much for coming on the Straight Up Show podcast, Music Monday.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm glad. I really enjoyed this.
All right, Big Mo, before you leave, you're gonna play a little something for us, right?
Of course, I got you. This is my latest song. This is actually my favorite song. It is called Zulia. It is available on all platforms: YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. Anywhere that you listen to music, Zulia is there. All you gotta do is just search up Big Mo BITW Zulia. So I hope everyone enjoying it.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Big Mo BITW, best in the world, baby.
Hey, best in the world, baby. Best in the world, es la temporada de los gorditos. Si puedo conocerte, Zulia. Si puedo verte, Zulia. Espero presionarte, Zulia. Solo quiero besarte, Zulia. Si puedo conocerte, Zulia. Si puedo verte, Zulia. Espero presionarte, Zulia. Solo quiero besarte, Zulia. En mi mente siento que no puedo alejarme de ti. Cuando me jalaste, ese es mi sueño hasta amanecí. Pero no es una dejaste. Espero lo que siento fue bastante. Veo mi corazón que tú robaste. Sabes, me encanta mi chamita. Zulia, Zulia, el amor de mi vida. Tienes la baila lo que necesito. Yo sé que querías tu haitianito. Quiero enamorarme de tu cultura. Quiero ver Valencia y Caracas. Quiero probar todas las comidas y ver los océanos en las playas. Baby, dime qué vaina es. Ya te quiero tal cual. Si estoy contigo, vida es chévere. Si puedo conocerte, Zulia. Si puedo verte, Zulia. Espero impresionarte, Zulia. Solo quiero besarte, Zulia. Si puedo conocerte, Zulia. Si puedo verte, Zulia. Espero impresionarte, Zulia. Solo quiero besarte, Zulia. Tú sabes cómo siento, Zulia. Te quiero, Zulia. Te extraño, Zulia. Te amo, Zulia. Tú sabes cómo siento, Zulia.